Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Daily Carry Podcast, episode number 42 today, and we're excited to continue the conversation. We had a last episode 41 on a little bit of EDC on the medical side.
Yep.
And then before that, we had Eli Crane on, congressman in Arizona, former Navy SEAL, successful entrepreneur. We had an incredible conversation. Well, continuing in somewhat of the same vein as we always do on this show, we're going to be talking about some exciting things that we have coming up, and we are excited is an understatement.
It is.
Excited is just I don't know if there's a better English word to describe how we feel about passion, impassioned.
Yeah, jubilation for me. I'm excited about this. I don't know who made this morning. This is awesome, by the way. I know I just took us on a rabbit trail, but this is peppermint, honey, and lemon.
Yeah, that's a Charlie Kirk with a twist. That's what I like to call it.
Is that what it is? It is flipping good, dude.
Yeah, I really like that. That's one thing that I have them make very often, and that's just peppermint tea with honey and lemon juice. Sounds a little weird. It's an acquired taste. It's a little tangy, but it's pretty good. I like it.
I like it.
But we've got coming up here pretty soon. We will be debuting and releasing and announcing some really exciting projects that we've been working on and we've been alluding to on the podcast for a couple of episodes now. But I think that we're at a point where it's pretty okay and safe to say what we're doing, right?
Yeah. We're not handing away any tradecraft secrets or anything, but Jared and I met next door at the coffee shop because of a jiu-jitsu t-shirt. And we're sitting here, I don't know, how long has it been now?
I think it's been a little bit over a year.
So let's just say 365. So in 365, we've gone from, hey, where'd you get that t-shirt, to we've got five core dudes right now.
Yeah.
And we've been working on behind the scenes a channel, I guess. Is that what we want to call it?
A channel, a group, a platform.
It's got several tentacles.
A coalition.
A
militia.
No, it's not a militia. No, it's been a group of dudes coming together, faith forefront, in figuring out what is our role as men, what is our role as men to each other, kind of a band of brothers thing. What does it mean to be a dad? What does it mean to be a husband? What does it mean to be fill in the blank, but as a man serving our Creator?
Mm-hmm.
And not, it's kind of this whole toxic masculinity crap garbage that's going on in the world. You see a lot of men right now starting to rise and go, enough. Well, it's easy to come out swinging and just fight, and it's easy to point fingers and get after something that you don't like, that you disagree with, be it politically or whatever. This is far deeper than that. This is actually a calling.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're all led to. We've all come together on this thing. We've all agreed to it, to the point of, if our convictions are true and this thing is going to go somewhere, then we need to be willing to lay down our life for it. Like, it's that depth. Not, hey, let's go have a buddies club and go hang out and beat each other up and go do dumb things together. We can still be dudes, but this is about manhood. It is perfectly okay to stand in the face of evil, to lead well, and not apologize for your Creator.
Mm-hmm.
And then what comes from that, and that's what we've kind of been sorting through.
Mm-hmm.
Not kind of sorting through, we have been sorting through.
Yeah.
And now I think we're fairly well dialed to the point that we're almost ready to launch.
Yeah. I mean, something that we've been working on and getting together for months now, multiple months. And the depth of this thing and the place that it's coming from and the way that it has continued to grow into something more God intended is incredible.
Yeah.
And I'll save a lot of the stories and we'll share that as we launch. But I just want to say that what I am the most excited about is, yes, we've got the element of being a man, showing what that's like, and just being that man that God's called men to be unapologetically. But in that, also showing the side that often gets neglected with a lot of platforms, even like ours, like the Daily Carry is, well, the Daily Carry, carrying the cross comes first. And that means that we serve. We serve to lead. And we are here to not just live our life for ourselves, but we're here to live our lives according to the greatest call that there is on being a man. And that's being the man that God designed you to be, loving Jesus. And then from that love, serving others and leading others to that love. And that's what I'm excited about, because this group of men that we have, we're devoted and we're committed to that, and we're sharpening each other. We're there for each other. I mean, a book that we've been going through in the men's group that sums it up very well is Locking Shields. We very much have a brotherhood formed that I know, continue on the path that we're on, God's going to use it mightily.
Sure.
I believe that with all my heart. And I'm excited to launch it and see where it goes. And I believe that it's going to be a blessing for everyone around us, and it's going to be a blessing for us. It's going to be a blessing for our families. And I believe that God's going to use it to really show this world what men can do when they stand on his call and his purpose.
Yeah. In the last 6 weeks, so I don't know, give a brief narrative on what's changed in your life, because there's a couple pretty big things that have changed. One, you started the men's group here on Monday morning. So 5:45 in the morning.
On Mondays.
On Mondays, the day you're kicking off your week, right? 5:45 in the morning. Started with a few dudes, got into a few more. Now we were up. I mean, I didn't count, but it felt like there was like 20 the other day. Circle just keeps getting bigger. We're running out of room. We're going to have to build a bigger gym, I guess. Expand. So that's been rocking. You started a church in the gym.
We sure did.
4 or 5 weeks ago?
We had our fourth Sunday this past Sunday.
Okay. And you've had how
Fourth
many
service.
How many baptisms?
I guess we would have announced it 5 weeks ago, because
Yeah.
we announced it the Sunday before the Sunday we had our first service.
Yeah.
But we've had 5 baptisms so far, and man, that's an incredible story in itself.
So 5 weeks, 5 baptisms, 5 weeks coming up on the men's group. It's tripled in size. This is all on the heels of coming together with the 5 of us sitting down talking about big picture. So your drive and purpose, I think this is so tantamount right now in today's culture and today's society. I don't think we can talk about this enough. And the people that don't want to talk about it, don't want to hear it, man, you need it, because this is a call to action. And it's not a call to action because I'm sitting here going, oh, I'm 57 having a midlife crisis. What am I going to do? No, it's a call to action because the world is falling apart. It's gone cold. It's dangerous. It's awful. It is picking up speed. All you got to do is look left or right 5 feet and you see it. And so somewhere in the middle of all that is humanity and a bunch of dudes all over this country going, man, what's next? And so we've collectively have come together and said, we're going to start showcasing what we believe is and create something that really other men can see and go, I want to be a part of that. Or I want to do that on my own even and just go out, much like what you did with the group and the church. Because that's all been in the last 5 weeks. That all came well after the fact of what we started. And we haven't even launched our thing that we're talking about yet. And yet look at the byproduct already of what's come from it because of your call to action. And I know I've got my own personal call to action, and I can give my testimony of something very personal that I've been going through and just shared with you before the episode with my son. And I'm not going to go in depth on it, but it has been an answer to prayer for 7 years. That's all been in the last 5 weeks. It's weird. It's like the last 5 weeks have kind of been the kind of that benchmark, if you will, of where everything's just kind of started taking flight right now. And we've heard the same thing from Eric and Kyle and Brian. I mean, they're all kind of in that same boat right now and what they're getting on fire over. And it is amazing, that relationship, when you surrender it, you consecrate yourself, what comes from it.
Yeah.
You try to control it like we've been doing, or like I won't say I have been doing most of my life. Yeah. There's so much has changed in my last year since we met. That 365 mark, I wish we had written down the date. I really wish. I'm gonna.
We could track it down.
I bet we could track it down. We probably track it down through a bill of sale, point of sale over at the coffee shop. But I want to find it. I actually want to put that thing I want to sign it, put it on a plaque with the T-shirt, and say this is where everything changed.
Man, that's powerful. The fact that you say that, and the thing is it's definitely mutual. My life over the past year is definitely still night and day, and it's continuing every single day to continue forward in a purpose that's obviously much bigger and more God intended. And it shows itself to be that more and more every day. And you say 5 weeks, the past 5 weeks have definitely changed. But here's the thing is, you reap what you sow. That's biblical. And we've been planting seeds for a long time. And not just me, you and this group of 5 guys. Think about what we've been doing. We've been getting together. And is there some fun? Is there some joking, some banter back and forth? Absolutely. We've been talking about how we feel God stirring us up to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been encouraging each other, provoking each other to good works. We've been praying with each other.
Yep.
That is not something that is taken lightly on this earth or in heaven. That is serious business there. That's God's business. And I believe that every single prayer, every single meeting, every single conversation has done exactly as the scripture says, where iron has been sharpening iron. And God's been preparing us all to do what he's calling us to do. And here we have a lot of us, exactly like Eli Crane said on the episode with him, giving God our yes.
Yeah.
We've been giving God our yes. And that's what I think a lot of us are feeling. We've been feeling this stirring and this unction to do more for God, and to give him everything, give him our yes. And as we've been meeting as a group and praying with each other and having these conversations, is where God's really made himself very crystal clear to a lot of us, what he's requiring of us, what he wants us to do with what we have. And God's been dealing with me for a very long time, man. A long time. I mean, since I was a kid, long time. Yeah. And I've shared a lot of that testimony, and I'm not going to go into depth on all that. But here we have, in the group of men, the first one would have been Kyle. Kyle came in to my life like before we moved the jiu-jitsu gym into here. So in the group of the 5 guys, the guy that I've actually known the longest is Kyle.
The Rooster.
The Rooster. Shout out to Kyle. But listen, Kyle, as we had our transition and he knew a lot of what I was going through, he took time out of his day, and me and him didn't know each other really well by then. We knew each other, on a jiu-jitsu basis more than anything, but I had shared with him a couple of what the problems I was going through. And, he was also, I knew that he was a believer. I knew that he had faith, and he had come to the Bible study, I think maybe a time or two at that point, if I recall correctly. If not, then he would have been coming there shortly thereafter a couple of times to the Bible study we had next door. But Kyle sat here in the gym whenever I'm going through some serious transitions and needing pretty much any and every bit of encouragement and advice that I can find out of people that are willing to give it. And he sat in front of me and said, "Hey, man, here's this really good business plan that I've looked at, and I think it could be very applicable to this. And, I believe in you. You can do this. Like, this is going to work. The Rock Jiu-Jitsu team, it's going to work." And he gave me that level of encouragement I wasn't really getting from a lot of people. I was spending a lot of time in prayer, a lot of time with God, and I was talking to a lot of mentors outside of the jiu-jitsu community, but he was a student, and his kids were students, and they were coming to the gym. And to hear this kind of encouragement from him was incredible. There was other students that were here and there voicing their support, but for him to take some time out of his day, sit down and say, "Hey, I believe in you. Here's this plan. If you need anything, let me know. I'm here to help."
Yeah.
That was Kyle, like over 2 years ago. And then one of my very close friends, him and his wife were the first ones we baptized out of the Bible study that we started. Jason and his wife Shannon, absolute incredible people. God sends into our life. We love them so dearly, and they've been incredible supporters of everything we went through. They knew, and he was before Kyle. Jason was here and training with us long before a lot of any of this, and he saw the transition, saw everything that we went through, and he had a lot of martial arts experience. He had a lot of different experience with not only jiu-jitsu gyms, but traditional martial arts gyms, and a lot of different drama and stuff that goes on. And so he was able to be in a position to give me a lot of really good sound advice whenever I'm going through a lot of those transitions. And Jason stepped up, and he was there, man. He helped with the kids' classes, with everything. He was just there. But then he finished his house that they had been working on in Montana, and they moved. And, man, I was heartbroken. I still am heartbroken. I miss Jason. Jason's an awesome guy. And he's been starting to listen to the podcast, so he's probably going to hear this. But Jason was a godsend. And he would say the same thing about my wife and I, and so would his wife. We really got alongside of them, and they started really marching on their faith journey and plugged into the Bible study, and it was amazing the way that God just worked and moved through all of that. But Jason, to be able to give me the sound advice and the support and the help that I needed in a time when I needed it most was incredible. So whenever he left, I was like pretty discouraged because he's my friend. He was my right-hand man at the gym. He's helping me with all the classes, and not only at the class, I mean at the Bible studies. And he was for me, I felt like he was the guy that I needed, right? And at that time, for sure he was. And still to this day, we still text each other. We stay in touch. He's going to be at JWI4.
Nice.
Really excited to catch up with him. But he goes and moves to Montana, and now he's in Kansas and Alaska part-time. The whole story there. He's got a really cool life story. He's got an incredible testimony. It'd be cool to have him on an episode and him just share his testimony. But as soon as he leaves, it's amazing because right after they got baptized, they had bought the entire Bible study Toby Mac tickets to go to Toby Mac's concert. But it turned out that they were already gone. They couldn't have made it to the concert. So we had some extra tickets. And Esther and Brian come into the Bible study. I don't even know Brian yet. It's crazy. I don't even know him. And they come to the Bible study because Maria, Esther's cousin, both of them from Papua New Guinea, Maria's cousin had started coming to the Bible study at our house before we even moved to the coffee shop. And so they come to kind of scope out Colorado. They were looking at moving here. They're staying with Maria, Esther's cousin, and they come to Bible study. That's the first time I meet Brian. I didn't even know that he actually was serious about doing jiu-jitsu. I didn't know he was good at jiu-jitsu. None of that. I didn't know anything really about him. He came to Bible study, and then they came with us to the Toby Mac concert. Brian ends up being the guy who's like, you talked about building these pit walls. Why don't you do it before the grand opening? What are you waiting for? And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And then from that, obviously, now we've got Pit Boss, we've got JWI, all that stuff. And then same thing with the Carry Your Cross Challenge. I told him about that idea a long time ago, and he was like, man, let's not let another summer go by. Let's do this Carry Your Cross Challenge. I was like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. And then we have Eric, who pulls up really early on whenever we open the Rock Jiu-Jitsu team. And Eric is just like, he walks into the room and everybody it's like everybody has a better time.
Yeah.
He's just a funny guy.
He brightens every room.
Eric, don't get a big head while we're saying this. If you're listening to this, we love you to death, and you have your quirks, but at the same time, I will give you this. Okay, I will give you this, Eric. You absolutely will walk into a room and it's like, man, this is going to be a good day.
It is, yeah.
Eric's just got that trait about him. But what's so cool is Eric walks in, and he walks in at a time where I'm navigating, putting pieces together in the gym of, okay, God opened the doors for us to be here. How do I incorporate God? How do I make this a faith first? For a long time, I had it wrong. I had it faith-based, not faith first. God's called me out of the faith-based and into the faith first, and that's where we're at now. But here I am navigating, okay, faith-based. How do we incorporate this? And so we had a guy on, Kyle. I just saw him. His name was Kyle Sefcik, and he had the video that was pretty viral about him just teaching a class, and at the end of the class, he's saying, Jesus is coming back. Can't say nobody ever told you, and don't quit jiu-jitsu. And that video just went viral, right? And then I saw that he was teaching at a gym in Colorado, so I reached out to him. I was like, hey, you want to come teach? And that's a whole crazy cool story in and of itself. But Kyle came for that seminar, and he was also, him and his family stayed, and they did some worship. We did like a worship night in the coffee shop for the Bible study. And I remember Eric coming, and Eric being moved by that, and Eric sharing, hey, I'm kind of just now starting on this faith journey. And the entire story that Eric has in all of this is incredible in its own right. And then, of course, a little bit thereafter, I meet you in the coffee shop because of a jiu-jitsu t-shirt that you're wearing. And I'm like, hey, what's up, man? And then now here we sit, 42 episodes, well, this is the 42nd episode later on the Daily Carry podcast and everything else that's happened. It's just very clear God doesn't make mistakes. And here we got this group of men. We're about to launch this. Really what it's going to be is there's no I don't think there's another way to describe it adequately than this. We're going to be starting in its own right a ministry. We're going to be starting a platform where men can experience exactly what we've experienced, and men can be sharpened, men can be encouraged, men can be shown the way, and they can be told and have that encouragement where maybe they're facing something and they don't have the right people telling them the right things. Well, we're very serious about being that right people and telling them the right things and equipping people and encouraging people. God's got a purpose for you. It looks like this to start, and from this, God's going to show you exactly what his plan for your life is.
Yeah.
That's what the process has been. That's the process that I think is hard for a lot of people, is they want the results now. They want the instant gratification now. What does God want me to do now? And the thing is a lot of what people have tried to categorize a calling as has kind of been something that's gotten a lot of people stuck in the weeds. You gotta just start with what you're supposed to start with first. And from that, you have this refining process. You have this sharpening process. And in that process is where God starts to open your eyes and give you the right lens to look at life through, and where you know, okay, this is where I know God wants me to get plugged in. This is where God wants me to start working.
Right.
That's what it's been for me. I know that's what it's been for the guys in the group, is it's like this process of, okay, now that I'm giving God the essentials of what he's calling me to be as a man, now I'm starting to understand and see this lane, this path that he has for me to be able to live my life and honor him and lead other people to him.
Yeah. So I said jubilation. You just did about 9 straight minutes of jubilation.
Yeah.
Like that, you can feel it. You can see it in your body language. You can hear it in your voice. You can hear it in your tone. You can hear it in your excitement. I have a hard time looking at somebody and go, why is that not just a great thing? We live in a world that is so wayward and so awkward, and I've been part of it literally, I mean this both tongue in cheek, my whole life, but in the wrong way. And I don't find it just ironic that there's 5 dudes from 5 totally different walks of life, 5 different ages, 5 different backgrounds, all finding the same thing at the same time, which means all 5 were either searching, or all 5 didn't know, or all 5 were, fill in the blank. We weren't doing what needed, but like collectively it's like we can almost finish each other's sentences right now as to where we're headed and what we're experiencing and what we're feeling. And it's getting shored up. It's getting summed up. There's a couple things still have to come together for sure. But at the end of the day, it is astonishing to me what has transpired over the last year. And it's fun to talk about. There may be people out there and listen to this episode and go, what are you guys are nuts. What are you even talking about? You're just 2 dudes starting a group. And I sit back and I go, so I'm gonna pay props to somebody real quick. Kyle Reyes, friend of mine. He's in many ways how Eli and I met. Many years ago, a thing called Operation Innocence. It was about school safety. Got a bunch of dudes together from all over the country, flew like 50 guys in, and we sat down and we created this thing. And it didn't really go where it should have gone. It was kind of short-lived, but what came out of it was the relationships. There were so many dudes there that I am connected with to this day. And Eli, for me, is one of my closest friends. I mean, he's one of these guys I don't have to talk to a lot. I don't have to text a lot. But when we're in each other's presence, I just feed off of him, and our bond is amazing. And that came from that group. So the reason I'm shouting out to Kyle has never served in law enforcement day in his life, but he owns law enforcement today. He is an impassioned dude who went out and said, I'm tired of seeing our country go wayward. Cops are, essentially under attack. He's very patriotic. The interesting thing, the reason I bring up Kyle is driven. I mean, he is far and away the most impassioned man for success I've ever seen in my life. You can't put enough projects in front of Kyle. Kyle's watching this right now. He'd be shaking his head. His wife would be shaking his head. He'd be laughing at me. He was texting me last night at 10 o'clock. He had asked me to come down. He's got a huge event called the Big Blue Bash down in Mar-a-Lago, at Trump's place. There's a notable amount of people, big name people coming to this event. Kyle has built this thing from the ground up. I guess he's 40, if I had to guess, year-old dude who started with a dream and a vision, and that was to bring kind of patriotism back to America, hang the flag in front of your house, be patriotic. Here's where all the story goes. And Kyle would be sitting in this chair right now, and Eli would be sitting in there. They'd be telling you the same thing. Kyle got a lot of traction, did a lot of things in his life, and he's achieved some pretty cool stuff. He's met a lot. I mean, like in the last picture I saw Kyle, he was in a picture with Russell Brand, Mike Tyson, and Ted Nugent. Let that sink in the same picture. Though, like those are the 3 guys standing next to him, and they're all holding baseball bats, ready to take back America. Like that's just if there's ever a funny picture, it's Russell Brand, Ted Nugent, and Mike Tyson in the same picture. That's just hilarious to me. And Kyle's standing next to him. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, so he's got all these connections. He's built this stuff. He's got a lot of fame and a lot of notoriety. And I'm talking a lot of political too. So Tom Holman's going to be at this event, yada, yada, yada. You know when it came to life? When Kyle surrendered.
Wow.
Kyle was at about the 80% level, going 1,000 miles an hour. And he was creating some amazing things. The video I was telling when Eli was on the podcast, we were talking about the car chasing. That's Kyle. We were down there. It was a big honorary deal for wounded veterans, honored just dozens and dozens and dozens of folks. And I was telling you about the kid sitting backwards in the seat after he'd taken a rock to the face early in the ATV, and we're going like 150 mile an hour, and he's backwards, and he's filming these two Navy SEALs in the back of this cop car. This is all Kyle. He's a dreamer, and he makes these amazing things happen. But when he conceded his life, about 3 years ago, I remember watching him put a post out, and he was really clearly going through some challenging times. And Eli was one of his mentors, and he's reaching out to Eli. He's reached out to me a few times, and we're talking faith. He's like, man, what is wrong? I just can't. I wish he was here to tell the story. He was like, I just can't. It's like, I'm right there. And then he just let go, and he gave it over in a way that now I'd say 90% of the posts that he puts out, it starts with his faith first. And then it follows with, oh, by the way, we're going to be at Trump's place, and here's who's coming, and here's why we're doing this event. And he's unapologetic about it. And he gets a lot of pushback on it. And there's a lot of people that will beat him up over it. But it's gone boom in a massive way because God doesn't make mistakes. And so right now he's using a guy like Kyle, I think the same way that he's using you. That's why we call you the architect of the group. I mean, you're the architect. You constantly are looking at next things and what's coming. But it's not just do it, 5 minutes later go do something different. Like, you make them all work simultaneously. If there's anything that's drawn me into that enthusiasm, it's that you're doing it Christ-centered, and you're also creating results. So I mentioned 5 weeks ago you started a men's group. 5 weeks ago you started a church here in the gym. Like, who does that? Nobody goes there and goes, I think I'm going to start a church in my gym. On the side while I'm doing 14 other things, and have it be successful and have multiple baptisms and people coming in. And, like, if you've never attended church before and you don't know where to go, come to Victory. Come down here. It's a jiu-jitsu gym converted into a church on Sunday, converted back into a jiu-jitsu gym that afternoon so everybody can do business throughout the week. But what an amazing environment to walk through, and all you're just experiencing is the faith, and you're experiencing the reality of the word. And that, to me, I wish people would just dig into it, because I know I didn't for the longest time. I was following, I was believing, but I wasn't faith first. I was going through, and I don't mean like I was checking boxes. I was intentional about many things, but I wasn't consecrated. I did not give it all up. And that's why I've said probably 10 times on the podcast now, my grandfather said, you can't fall off both sides of the fence at the same time, boy. Well, pick your side. And so I chose to pick my side. Everything changed. Everything changed. I'm living proof. You don't believe it? Go ask my wife.
Yeah.
Ask my wife. Ask my son. Ask the guys in the group. Ask the people that I work with. Ask the people that I train. What has happened in the last year? I don't care if I lose everything tomorrow. I have never felt better in my life. Doesn't matter. I don't care what I have to adjust. I have never felt better.
Yeah.
But for 40 years, I kept trying to feel good. I kept trying to figure it out. I kept trying. And I'm not saying I got it all, but I can tell you this. What's happened in the last, it's weird that I say the last 5 weeks, because that's right when we went to South Africa. I had a God moment there of epic proportion, but it was a visual God moment. I don't mean like he came down like out of the clouds like to Moses and handed him tablets moment. I mean like I'm sitting in South Africa and I'm looking out the back. I'm sitting in a pool, a swimming pool, with a railing next to me, and I'm looking over the railing, and out there are elephants and zebras and giraffes walking across these plains in front of me, and behind it is one of the biggest storms I've ever seen in my life. Sun over here, monster cyclone looking thing coming at us over here. And I captured 2 or 3 pictures within about a 2-minute window before the clouds overtook the sun with the animals in the background as I'm sitting in a pool. And I'm like, if you don't feel the presence of God in something like that, then you're missing something. And I had been missing it. And in that moment, I went, wow, that was like the exclamation point of all exclamation points for me. And I just happened to capture part of it on a phone. I didn't get it all because I couldn't capture the clouds and the sun and the animals and all of it at distance with my little silly cell phone. But I got what I could. But I can tell you personally, holy God, I'll never forget that image. That was just like I'm here, I'm real. It almost felt like to me like I could stand in Moses' shoes staring at the sea going, look at that water parting. Look, here it comes. The promise is being delivered. Like it was like that epic to me. I've seen some cool storms and neat things. I've never sat out in the back bush of South Africa looking at creation like that with the magnitude of what was coming at us. And believe me, it hit. Like we got crushed that afternoon for about 2 hours with a storm. Like it was hard to describe how powerful it was, but I saw it before it hit. And that was the magnitude of it. And I saw peace here, and I saw the stirring over here, and I saw what needed to be protected down below. And it was like all in one image. It was super cool.
Man.
Yeah, super cool.
What a cool trip, man. I would like to go there someday.
It is.
That'd be cool.
It is. You know what's neat? I'm going to rabbit trail for just a second. Julia, our friend, my wife's business partner, grew up there in South Africa. She took us all over. She took us everywhere. Sitting in her backyard in Hoedspruit, she's got this cable. All the yards have it, but it's just steel cable, different heights to keep the animals out. The only ones that don't pay attention to it are the snakes and the baboons. They don't care. But everything else comes up to it. It's really neat sitting on the back porch, and you have a giraffe 8 feet from you, and you have monkeys climbing up in the tree, and occasionally you see a lion or something walk by. There's something majestic about being that close to the rawness of that magnitude of creature. The rhinos, it's very different seeing them in a zoo, obviously, than seeing them out there in their natural habitat, kind of wallowing around in the water with the hippos and everything. It was a powerful, powerful trip, I think, for everybody. But for me, it was just the magnitude of creation and everything that I got to see in 2.5 short weeks. It gave me a peace. It gave me a sense of awesomeness, of what has been done. And then just the culture was so amazing where we were at. The food was off the chart, but I cannot begin to describe it. And I'll shut up after this because I'll just rabbit trail too far. We're turning into Julia's driveway. And here's the best way I can describe it. You're going down a dirt road. She's in a reserve community. It's gated, it's armed, it's protected. There's a lot of dangerous stuff in Africa. You go down and there's 143 residents, and they're all like on 5 acres apiece. So this is a big place. And we're driving up to her driveway, and her driveway is a 2-track. Her driveway is like you and I going ATVing in the backcountry up in Rainbow Falls. That's her driveway that goes back to her house. And we turned down the driveway and we said, wouldn't it be funny if like we came around the corner and there was a giraffe standing in the driveway, and we come around the corner and there's 2 giraffes standing in the driveway. That's the kind of thing you get to see every day while you're there. And there's just something majestic about it, and there's something surreal about it. Because here, I come home and I got a dog, and he comes over and he's the happiest creature in the world, and he comes up and he jumps all over you and he loves you, and the dog's tail never lies. A little different when you turn into your driveway and you're driving back 150 yards to get to your house, and you got to wait for the giraffe to get out of your way. It's just a different feeling. I don't care how many times I saw it, it never got old. It wasn't like, oh, dadgummit, there's another giraffe in the driveway. You just get out and you stand there and you look up and you go, these things are like epic. It's just awesome because you're just literally me to you. That's how close we were. Man. It was so cool. It was so unbelievable. But the reason I shared that whole story is it brought me to a level inside to where when I got back, I felt like I had even more purpose for the group that we're getting ready to launch, these things that we're doing. And that's where I got so much clarity on the next steps for video and all the things that we're putting together that I'm personally putting together for my part of it. Just peace of mind. Peace of mind. If I got anything out of that trip, out of everything I've explained, the one thing that I came back with was peace of mind.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Which is important. And I think I don't even just think, I know that that's part of God's design and God's plan is us getting to that point where we find that peace, and even a lot of times that peace that passes understanding.
Mm-hmm.
That is whenever you know that you've gotten to that point that God was wanting you to get to, where you've been so stressed, so anxious, working so hard, thinking that you got to do all this, that, and the other, and your plate is so full. And really what happens in those moments is we become so wrapped up in it that it almost tries to become our identity.
Mm-hmm.
And then as men, it's like, man, this is my identity. If I lose this, I lose myself. I'm a failure. For me, I had to have those checks and balances with the building, with the project, of realizing, listen, I get it. We've got a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort invested, and a lot of things went very wrong. But I had to have these reminders that 488 Crystal Valley Parkway is not my identity. The Rock Jiu-Jitsu team is not my identity. Udawali Coffee, not my identity.
Yeah.
It's not who I am. Who I am is child of the one true King. Who I am is the man that God created me to be. There's only one Jared Heyman. There only ever will be one Jared Heyman. And he loved me enough to let me be on this earth. And I want to love him back. And I want to get that right.
Yeah.
That's my purpose. My purpose is to have a love and a relationship with God. That's it. Everything has to come from there. And God has these reminders that gives us these checks and balances to remember that so that we can find that peace. Because then once we've found that and we remember that, we realize, okay, you know what? God gave me the means to even be here in the first place. If he closes this door and it feels like for a moment that I've lost everything, I haven't lost everything. Because what our everything really should be is our relationship with God, is our love for God, is our knowledge and the truth that we walk in, that our purpose is rooted in our design. And our design is what God's designed us to be. Man,
Yeah.
our wives, women, obviously, but he loves us. He knows us by name. That's who we are. That's what we're called to be. All these other things are just blessings that we have to use for him, for his purpose. Yeah. And if we get that wrong, then what was the point of it in the first place?
Right.
If I would have never opened the doors to have Bible studies in the coffee shop, what would really be the way to just make some money while my wife and I are alive on this planet for the couple years that we'll be here? And then it's just done, and it's never done anything besides just be another business, another coffee shop that just sells coffee. That has no eternal weight. What about the people that may never walk into a church building and feel the presence of God, but they walk into a coffee shop that's been dedicated to God?
Yeah.
That's literally been prayed over before the ground was even broke. And then they walk in, they feel the presence of God. If it wasn't for that, then, I mean, the whole point is God able to use this? Yes. But at those moments where it's like, man, I've been fighting really hard. I'm really stressed over this. I feel like if I lose this, I'm going to fail. And if I feel like if I don't build this the right way and I don't have this certain result, that I'm failing. What we have to have is this constant reminder and this constant being brought back to this place of, if God gave it to me, I'm going to use it for him. If he takes it away, I'll use whatever he gives me next for him. That's the peace.
It is. And so you hit on something powerfully important. We are going to have a guest coming on. I'm not going to give the name yet, and I'm not going to give too much context, but I will say this. He is the epitome of none of this matters except my relationship with him and my family and how I protect them. He got on a plane this morning to fly to Mexico for a treatment that he can only get there for an incurable cancer. He's 52 years old, wildly successful. I chatted with him yesterday. I apologize. I chatted with him Sunday. And we stood there, and I have never, I don't think in my life I've ever seen somebody who's going through something that can be so dark and so heavy with such grace and mercy, and yet also with the responsibility to still lead his family in the way that he's doing it. And in our conversation, I looked at him and I said, would you be willing to come on and share your story? And he paused for a moment and he looked at me and he says, when I get back from Mexico, you book me. Because essentially he doesn't know how much time he has. And it is going to be, if not one of the most powerful episodes we ever do. because he is going to show testament not only to faith, but attitude, approach, all. Like I just don't want to go any further. I want his story to be his story, but it is so unbelievable. And I will, when he gets here, I'm going to open it with the backstory of how we met and how we know each other that then leads into this, because there's an element to it that just blew me away as I was sitting there thinking about it last night. So really, really excited to get a guy of his caliber on. I'm brokenhearted for what he's going through, but I am optimistic in faith because of how he lives. And that I don't think I've seen a greater reflection of that in a long, long time, maybe ever, of somebody who is just battling but totally unafraid at the same time, yet still called. And this is the key to do the very thing that we're doing down here on Monday mornings, and we're doing as a group of 5. And that is, how do you impact? How do you lead? How do you let everybody see? You know, as I've said many times, you might be the only version of the Bible somebody reads. Well, people were reading the wrong Bible than me for a long time. And when I started waking up to that, man, did it change. And it just, in talking to him Sunday, it puts so much emphasis on how important that is, because we're so this is a speck of nothing. At the end of the day, we put so much emphasis into it, so much time, so much effort, so much energy, so much money, so much worry, stress, yada, yada, yada. And at the end of the day, it all goes away. You can't take one dirty penny with you. Nothing. You can only take what's in here and your choices. That's all you get. That's all you get to take. Man, it's incredible to me that I've lived 5.5 plus decades and 4-ish decades as an adult, plus not completely understanding that up until the last few weeks. Over the last year, it's been morphing, but the last few weeks, can't begin to describe the metamorphosis inside me. Yeah. Yeah, it's been incredible. And it's things like talking to him Sunday that it just makes it so clear. Yeah. So clear. And if only people could see through my eyes. So the only way I know to do that was come in here and sit in that chair. Let everybody see it.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that conversation as well. That's going to be amazing. And, I think that the audience should get more used to that, giving a platform here on the Daily Carry to people who have done exactly that, carried it well. And because of that, they have a testimony to share.
Yeah.
Testimonies are, for me, and I know for Mike as well, testimonies, when people have even just like Eli Crane getting on here and sharing more than just his life story, but a testimony. Mm-hmm. A testimony of having his issues and his ups and his downs and figuring out, okay, what have I been missing? It's been the faith. That's what I got to get. That's what I got to get right. That's the part that matters the most. Not the least, that's the most. And then also this revelation of a spiritual warfare that I can't just sit idly and do nothing in. I've got to know my enemy, and I got to be able to be effective in this fight. Testimonies are so important because that is a big part of how God reveals himself. Today, right here, right now, is telling, oh, by the way, this is what God did. By the way, I thought this was going to happen. We prayed and this happened. That is literally God showing himself. And that's what many of our listeners, if you are further along in your faith journey, if you're just starting out, if you're skeptical, well, there's a lot of stories that have already been shared on this podcast. How could you ever chalk them all up to just coincidence? It's because it's not. God doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't.
Well, I think people don't believe that's how you can chalk it up. I think about that a lot, because I think about that with people that I love, that I care about, and they look at me and they go, yeah, I don't get this thing, and I don't want to be a part of it. So I don't Bible thump anybody, but I try to live in a way, even through my failures, that they can see the difference. I'll give you the greatest example I know. I married it. I mean, she is she is the quintessential. I think you mentioned Eric. He just has a way of, when he walks into the room, he just makes the room better or cool or fun or enjoyable. It's just his sense of humor, his personality, his one-liners, his quips. It's just all his little things. My wife walks into a room, she instantaneously makes the room brighter, happy, joy-filled. She is the happiest human being, bar none. And I don't say because she's my bride. that's actually what captivated me about Jana in the first place. I mean, when Jana got out of the car and I had my Farrah Fawcett hair flip moment, and she in the wind at Arborland Mall, I looked over, I was like, oh. But get past the moment, she was just a ray of sunshine in everything she's ever done. And I talk about her all the time in a favorable way outwardly. This isn't fake. This isn't me like, you know, my wife, let me give you a little kiss up here and put you up on a pedestal. That is not it at all. This is genuinely how I feel about Jana. It's genuinely how everybody feels about Jana. And there is something about a person who has an attitude in life that, you know what, doesn't matter how bad it is, really nothing's going to get you down. And Jana has a way of she just takes it on and takes it on and takes it on and takes it on. And there's just very few bad days for my bride. And I love that about her because you just feed off of that energy. Despite my level best to screw it up sometimes or mess up the relationship, you know, please forgive me, honey, but I really do admire her from the outside in. And I think when a lot of people don't believe, they don't have faith, they hang around my bride and they come in for, you know, counseling or whatever it may be. And it's like, man, she's just different. And I'm like, yeah, that's what this brings. It brings a joy. And if you look right now, and it's easy to attack the world. And I always say rated R for reality. We are jacked right now. I mean, the world is just so screwed up. There's nothing you couldn't open up right now and read the top 10 headlines, and it's not all doomsday, dark, bad, or finger pointing. You're very seldom going to find any joy in a headline anywhere. You open up social media, you'll see a little bit of it, and depending on what people share, you know, but there is just something so wayward right now in that, you know, that medium of the phone. I've always said I think it's going to be the downfall of man. It's going to be the cell phone. It's not going to be anything else because it's so easy to get distracted and sucked into. So I love hanging with dudes like Eric. They just brighten my day. He's just funny. I love hanging with people like my bride. She brightens my day. She brings joy. She brings peace. I can't stand going out into the world sometimes for what's out there and what we're facing and what we're dealing with. And it's so easy to get sucked into it. And I admit I've done it. You know, it's easy for me to want to make a comment online when somebody's doing something. Mm-hmm. And I just think, you know, and there was just, I just have to be intentional about not doing it. And gosh almighty, when I look at where we're at compared to where I grew up, I could sit here and tell stories all day long, but we have changed. We have really changed. And I know my grandfather said the same thing to me when I was a young boy. You don't understand. We've changed. My grandfather grew up in the coolest era there ever was. As far as Americana goes, he literally grew up in the 50s, 60s, and early 70s as a super young dude with the greatest nostalgia American muscle cars ever made. I mean, you'd go down to the diner, the Cumberland Dairy Diner in Monticello, Kentucky. I remember it as a little boy, 8 years old, 1974. And this was right when all of this era was leaving. My grandfather grew up in that whole thing where you go down, you'd get a cherry Coke, and you'd hang out on a Friday night, and you'd have 300-400 horsepower cars that you were building in your garage, and they go street racing legally on a Friday night in downtown hillbilly Kentucky. America, you didn't have stress back then, man. There was no turning on a phone. There was no social media garbage. There was none of that. It was just kids being kids. And even in my generation, growing up in the 70s and the 80s, I mean, it was a crazy cool. I mean, there was no such thing at all of being at home. If I came home, it was like, get outside. Don't come in until it's dark. Like every kid that grew up in that era knows exactly what I'm talking about. Nowadays, we don't even send kids outside, much less don't stay out till it's dark. It's like dangerous. So it's just, I guess the point to all of it is it's gone so far wayward that when I sit back, I want to surround myself, one, with my beliefs, my strength, my faith, but I want to surround myself with people that I know not only are of like mind, but of resilience and doing the similar or same things so that when we go in separate directions, we're helping other people, we're there for them, but we're feeding off of each other. Mm-hmm. I don't mind stepping out into the fray. I don't mind pulling the person out of the foxhole. I love doing that stuff, but I don't want to live in the negativity of the world. I want to live in part in my grandfather's era with my cars. I want to still build and race and have fun. I want to grow up in my mind where I would still have those good memories as a little boy. Even though I'm an old man now, move forth, I still want to believe that there is an opportunity in this country to turn things around, but it's got to start with salvation, and it's got to start with the people in your circle of friends and it just goes in layers from there. And I think that the whole point of this whole podcast is that. I mean, that's what we're driving at right now. Starting with these 5 guys, getting ready to launch what we're getting ready to launch. In my opinion, I think it's going to be tantamount. I think it's going to be big.
Man, very excited for it. And there's no doubt that I think that one of the biggest reasons that we have the guys that we have, not only in just the group of the 5, but also the men's group. And I mean, all across the board, all over the country, churches filling up, Bibles being purchased. There's no doubt that people realize there's a lot going on in the world that is wrong. There's a lot messed up, which is what you kind of started speaking on, is how messed up things are, how many problems we have, how much we have to stress over. Well, hopefully all that pressure, all those issues are leading people to what really matters, and that is Jesus. And there's a lot of people that they just don't want to believe it. They don't want to buy it. They just don't want to even open up that door.
It's easy.
It's not as hard, and it's not what Eli said on the podcast. It's not this. It doesn't mean you're going to be this Ned Flanders type of person, right? Off of The Simpsons or whatever. You're like, that's not what it means. But the fact is there's so much evidence that we have that is so much more available than it ever has been, that this thing is real. This is true. Jesus was a real person. Jesus really rose from the dead. Historically, you can go and look at it and you can figure out that it actually happened. And there's other accounts than just the Bible in history that it happened.
But it's so easy to not believe it, and I think that's where people go. It's so easy to not do anything.
But at the end of the day, you want to do the easy thing, or you want to actually follow and do the right thing.
That's exactly right.
And that's what we're talking about, is the right thing. I mean, think about this, okay? This is a stat that I just pulled and just talked about not too long ago. Powerball and Mega Millions are both very close to 1 in every 300 million tickets sold. That's your statistics. That's your odds of winning. It's like 1 in almost every 300 million tickets sold. Well, there was a famous mathematician, Dr. Stoner, that did a study on just 8 prophecies in the Old Testament being fulfilled by the same person, right? Jesus fulfilled over 300 prophecies in the Old Testament. How do we know that he did this? Well, in the Old Testament, 300 prophecies were written years before the New Testament. And then in the New Testament, we know that Jesus fulfilled these prophecies that were written way before. And then we know that the New Testament's legitimate.
Yep.
You can go look and you can go into deep dives. You can go listen to guys like Wesley Huff. You can go listen to guys like Cliff Nechtel. I don't know if I said his last name right, but you can go and look into the details, into the apologetics, into the reasons. You can just go watch the movie Case for Christ. You can read the book Case for Christ, and you can see Jesus was real. Jesus really lived, and he died, and he rose again. And he fulfilled 300 prophecies. The same person, one person, Jesus, fulfilled 300 prophecies in the Old Testament. Well, this mathematician did the math for just 8 of these prophecies. And the odds were that 1 in 100 quadrillion chance that one person would fulfill just 8 of those. And then the math was like in the Googles, whenever they did the 48, if somebody fulfilled 48 of those prophecies, it was like in the Googles, like unfathomable number, like with 157 zeros after the 1 or whatever. So they can't even do the math on 300 of those prophecies being fulfilled.
Right.
The point is here we have these odds to go buy a lottery ticket, 1 in 300 million. Imagine how many people have thought about how nice that would be.
Sure.
Imagine, I've thought about it. You've thought about it. Yeah.
Sure.
And so many people have thought about it. Like, what would I do? What would you do if you won the lottery? What would you do with that kind of money? Some people even got so far as to say, man, I'd do so much good with that money. Mm-hmm. I'd give so much of that money away. I'd help so many people. Imagine if you have that capacity to think that way. The capacity that God, who made us and gave an entire plan of redemption, and his only begotten son, Jesus, dying on the cross for us. Imagine the kind of love that he has for us. And imagine that he beat all those odds that are far more unfathomable than a winning lottery ticket.
Right.
Jesus came and fulfilled those prophecies. He beat the odds, and he conquered death, sin, and the grave. And he's given us the same ability to be able to turn around and do that as well. We already have that winning lottery ticket punched, and it's way more valuable, and means way more, because we can take that. We're going to live an eternal life. I saw Joby as he was preaching, just a clip of his sermon. He had this rope, and it was like going all the way backstage. And then he just had some red tape on the end of the rope, like about this long. He's like, okay, imagine this is the rope. Okay, this rope is your life. Okay? This right here, this red tape represents your life here on earth. And then you've got this little section right here. Okay, this is where you're growing up. This is your childhood. Oh, now we're in high school. Oh, but now we're going to go to college, maybe start going into trades or whatever. And then now we're looking at retirement, trying to retire. And then we die. Look at this little sliver. And it's so true.
It is.
It's so true. You really think that this life is the only thing? It's not. It's not. People, whenever they die, they don't just go to sleep and they never wake up, okay? There is going to be a life after this. Otherwise, me and you wouldn't be sitting on a podcast talking with the kind of excitement that we have about things that we know God's leading us to, because we're excited to be alive and doing this work.
Yep.
And when we die, we're not going to die not excited about this exact same work that we're talking about. So the point is there is an eternal life to be considered here, not just this life here on earth. And Jesus beat all the odds. You go look up these stats yourself. It gives you every reason to believe, not reasons not to believe.
Yeah. You know what's funny about the lottery?
What?
So glad you brought it up. It's just funny. So stop and think about this for a second. So we have a lot of people screaming right now. We talked about this previous podcast. I'm not going to go far with it. I just summarize it quickly. Half the country-ish plus doesn't pay taxes. Of that, the top 5% are paying 70% of the taxes. So just live there for a second. And then you got people over here screaming about, well, the rich need to give more to the poor. They need to give more to the handouts, to the welfare, to the whatever. Okay, there's people that are destitute, broken, have bad things. We should all be taking care of and helping. But I'm just saying across the board, like that's the argument. Take it from these people and give it to these people over here. Okay, let's use your example for the lottery for a second, because you said 350 million.
300 million.
300 million.
Yeah.
Okay, even better. So I go tomorrow, 1 in 300 million, and I win. Let's say I win $300 million after taxes. If I gave away the money, I would literally give, mathematically off the top of my head, about 68 cents, 69 cents per person if I gave away to everybody in the United States. Hey, here's your 68 cents, dude. Good luck tomorrow. What are you going to do with it? You know? Wow, lucky to be you. I could have $350 million and go do amazing things, potentially, right? Or I could give it all away to everybody at 68 cents a person at 360 million people in the United States. When you think of it that way, it's pretty silly, the arguments of just go tax people. Like, people don't understand math. And, I don't want to rabbit trail, but like that's comical to me. You think somebody, because they have $1 billion, is feeding like America? No, they're not. No. Take $1 billion and break it down by 360 million. See how far that goes. That person's going to be broke, and we're all going to be, if we were feeding everybody, we're going to be out of food in like 2 days. That's how far that billion goes. So when you start hearing these numbers, knowing full well that I can't take one red penny with me, not a buffalo nickel is going to go with me after I die, then I need to be doing my works here. So if I do win that 350 million, somebody walks up and goes, hey, I've got a winning lotto ticket. You don't even have to buy it. Here you go. And I go cash in and I get my 350. I'm going to do amazing things with it. You better believe I am. I'm going to do some really cool things that are going to grow and build for the better. And I'm going to take care of the people that I want to take care of. And I'm absolutely going to help some people out that need to be helped out. But it would be ludicrous for me to go take $350 million and hand 68 cents to everybody and expect them to do something powerful with it. I'm not saying they couldn't. I'm just saying, think about that mathematically for a second. What would I have actually accomplished?
Yeah.
And we do that all the time.
And then they got to pay their taxes on that 67
That's right.
cents.
Here, give me 5 cents, baby. Give me 20 cents. But we do it all the time, though. The time is the only wage that we spend without knowing the end result. I mean, stop and think about it. I don't know what today is. I literally going to get my truck. I'm going to go head to the next thing that I got to go do. What happens if I don't make it? What happens is, time is the only currency that we spend without knowing how much we have. And we do it all the time. We do it frivolously, and we do it passionately, and we do it stupidly, and just fill in every describing word. That's what we do with time. So this podcast right here, the stuff that you spoke into, that I spoke into, that we talked about, where we met and all this stuff, this to me grows, and and we've sat here and we've labeled dudes and people that we've known, and look where this thing is headed. Somebody walks in and has $350 million. I'm not changing my actionable steps. It just gives me more opportunity to reach out. But I don't have $350 million right now, so I'm going to keep making the most of what I got, and I'm going to keep doing it with the best of what we're doing together. And that's the whole point of this podcast. It is literally sitting down. What am I carrying? Well, I'm carrying that Springfield. I'm carrying, well, I physically don't always carry that knife, but I got a knife on me. I'm carrying the word everywhere I go. Everywhere I go. I got my little bag in the truck in case I need to stop the bleed. But I've also got a Bible in there in case I need to pull over and read somebody. I also keep an extra $20 bill laying around in case I need to buy somebody a lunch who's sitting on the side of the roadway who's clearly destitute and they're not looking to do drugs and they're just on the hard luck. Fill in the blank, fill in the blank, fill in the blank. What am I carrying with me to take care of people? All of it. I'm carrying it all. And it's what I do with it that matters the most. And there's some days I do better than others, but dadgummit, to me, that was the whole point of this podcast. That it was sitting down. It wasn't the mezzanine. It wasn't the nice equipment. It wasn't all the stuff that you got on Facebook Marketplace, by the way, for pennies on the dollar. It was the fact that we were going to do something with it. And look where we're at a year down the road from the time we met. Church, the men's group, the group that we're building, what's coming out of it. And if you're sitting out there right now going, well, you guys are just talking about yourself. No, we're not. We're talking about what everybody should be doing. It's a call to action. It's a call to follow. It's a call to read. It's a call for you to dig in and say, what is next for me? How do I lead? What do I do next? We're just a template with what we're doing right now. Is it all going to work? I don't know, but we're doing it. We're doing it.
That we are. Well said, sir. Well said, for sure. And I'm just thankful to be on this journey. And I would encourage anybody listening, when you start looking at your life through the lens of faith, your story, your life, it no longer is just a story. It's no longer just a life. It's a testimony. It truly is. That's the way that it works, is you start to see God in everything. You start to see that everything has a purpose. And that is, in my opinion, the most important thing that we've even touched on and spoken about in this episode is with God, everything matters. And then without God, we fool ourselves into thinking that nothing matters. Because without God, what does matter? What does matter? If we're just here to have a good time living this life and we just die and nothing happens, then what really matters? Pretty much nothing.
Well, look at it right now socially, what is happening across our country. We have riots. We have craziness happening in the streets. That's living for the now. Like that is not accomplishing anything. And look what it's doing. It's nothing but death and destruction and bad and all this stuff. And it's like, oh my gosh, like if you can't see it there, then what level do you need to go to? And it just gets deeper and deeper from there. So yeah, it's got to be that thing that you just said. And if it's not, then what is it?
Yeah.
Because it's not the stuff that we're seeing out here.
Yeah. Seek God. And that's why it's in the Bible. It says, seek ye first the kingdom of God. Seek his will. And that's the way that God's will works. And that's a whole nother episode. It's a whole nother conversation. But the point is if you really start trying to learn who God is, who he's made you to be, and you start on that path, you won't regret it, because it's a life filled with purpose. It's a life filled with true identity that's not just in random things in this world. That's never supposed to have been our purpose, is our identities wrapped up in our job or in our salary or in our house or in our businesses. Our identity is supposed to be wrapped up in who we are, who we were made to be, which means we were created. We were designed for something. Adam was designed in the Garden of Eden before Eve was even a thing. There was no Eve, but Adam still had a purpose. He still had work to do. He still had animals to name. He had a garden to tend to. But more importantly than that, more fundamental than that, is he was created to have a relationship with God. God wanted a relationship with man. And that's what he still wants today. That is our most fundamental purpose for being on this planet, is that the God who created everything, imagine that, the God who created everything, he wants to have a relationship with you. He already knows you by name, but he wants you to know him. He wants you to talk to him, and he wants to be able to speak to you too through his word. He wants to be able to speak to you and show you why you're here and how much he loves you and why everything that we do on this planet, it matters, because there's eternal consequences that face us at the end of this life. God loves you. Anybody out there listening to you right now, God loves you. And we're going to pray over you as we conclude this episode today. But it's been a good conversation, and super excited to continue to keep everybody posted on details as we continue in the work that we've already been doing with everything here, the Rock Jiu-Jitsu team, Oodle Coffee, Core Freedom Alliance, Victory Church, and Mighty Men of Monday, and soon to be the next iteration of yeah.
And
excited.
I gotta say, quick ad, Journey Home Counseling. My wife never had a business card, never advertised, doesn't have a website. 31 years, face to face, word of mouth only. Journey Home Counseling. Jana has been, and I said it, she brightens every room she walks in. That business model, when she first said, I'm not promoting anything, I went, really? Because that's where my brain went to. 31 years later, I am so sorry, because you speak love. People are drawn. 31 years, never missed a meal. Absolutely amazing. What a testimony. Just that. Absolutely amazing. I know corporations that have risen and fallen with amazing success and tremendous failure. Here's my wife, just steady, just cool as a cucumber, just putting it out there, faith, trust, integrity, loving people well, and people seek her out. She's never had to look for a client. That's a big deal to me. Yeah, I love my bride.
That's awesome. Great ad for sure. All right. Well, you ready to close out? I'm closing out, but I'm asking if you're ready.
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm there.
All right. Sounds good. Lord, we come before you today thankful for a new day, thankful for another opportunity to walk with purpose, as you're the one who is the lamp to our feet, and you lead us on the path that we're walking on. We're believing in you to, Lord, cover this conversation that we've had and the conversations that are to follow. We pray that you would be with every listener out there, that you would let them know and feel you, your love, your presence. And God, I pray, Lord, that you would lead us closer to you, Lord. I pray that you'd let us walk with you, that you would walk with us. And I pray that you'd help us to be who you're calling us to be. I pray that you'd help us to be who you've designed us to be, Lord. And I pray, Lord, that as you lead us, Lord, and as we follow you, that we would lead others with us to you, to your love, to the cross, Lord, and to the hope that we all have in you. We love you and we thank you for your love, Jesus. We give you all the praise and we put everything in your hands. We trust you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right. Until next time.
Until next time.